Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today will be our very last day with the team that we featured for the last 2 weeks or so, we are going to be saying goodbye to it. We are currently sitting with a rating of 1704, so hopefully we can pick up 2 more wins in the concluding episode with this team and stay over the 1700s as we jump into next week. So I will be featuring a brand new team next week, which should be pretty exciting, so stay tuned for that. I'm actually not going to be here a lot of next week because of US Nationals, which I'm flying out to on Thursday as we find Juan from Argentina with a rating of 1732, but I should be able to pre-record some content, so don't worry about that. As always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Juan here has got a very interesting team, and his rating was pretty solid as well, so I'm excited for this match. He's got a Crawdaunt, Mawile, Ferrothorn, Malamar, Heatran, and Meowstic, so guessing Trick Room setup here with the Malamar. And Crawdaunt is very powerful with its ability and, having a attack boosting item. Kind of interesting to see 3 steel types here. You never really see that on a VGC team, but it could make some sense here. Now let's see. Landorus Intimidate will also, I believe, give the Malamar the attack increase because of its ability, so I might have to watch out for that. Unfortunately, no Swagger. If I had Swagger on this team, I could easily just go for a Swagger immediately. But let's see what I want to lead with. I could try to deny Trick Room from setting up immediately just by, going for like a air slash flinch and then trying to knock out the Malamar. For example, leading something like Aegislash Togekiss actually isn't the worst of ideas because Aegislash gives me pretty good coverage. I can't really foresee him leading with something like Heatran. Actually, it would make some sense on his end. So maybe I should rethink this. If anything, though, I just really want to get rid of the Malamar, and a Heat Wave shouldn't knock out Aegislash anyway. So I just want to deny Trick Room from going up at all. Kangaskhan could still be worth bringing in this match because of low kick against the Heatran and the Ferrothorn, and the double edge against Crawdaunt, Malamar, and Meowstic, so could be still worth bringing that. But this is one of the games where all 6 of my Pokemon, it makes some sense, you could make a case for bringing any of them. Landorus also makes sense just because he doesn't have any way to really stop Earthquake, but he can't really pick up knockouts, which is why I'm leaning towards not bringing it. I'm actually... Yeah, you know what? I still want something for the Heatran, but I guess Hydro Pump's good enough, so I'm going to go with Rotom. And for the last one, you know what? I want the Fire type attack just to hit Mawile or Ferrothorn. So I'm going to bring Volcarona here because it can also Giga Drain the Crawdaunt if I manage to set up a Quiver Dance. So we're going to get into this match. Very interesting. I'm expecting Trick Room, but he's got a lot of Pokemon that I'm unfamiliar playing against, especially the Crawdaunt, the Malamar, and the Meowstic even. So we're going to see the Meowstic Malamar lead here from my opponent, which is pretty solid against Togekiss and Aegislash. But the nice thing here about Meowstic is that it doesn't really have much offensive pressure, so I can kind of just target around it. This first turn, I think I'm just going to Air Slash the Malamar. If I manage to get a flinch, I think the game can actually just be over right from the start. But Meowstic's probably going to go for a Fake Out onto that slot. And I'm also going to Shadow Ball the Malamar slot. I would like to deny Trick Room if possible, and in retrospect, maybe leading something like Kangaskhan Togekiss would have been a bit better, just so I could have flinched the Meowstic. But he actually goes straight for the knockoff here onto Aegislash, not going for a Trick Room, but that's actually going to activate my weakness policy, fortunately enough. So, it's weird because knockoff normally gets rid of the item, but not the case here, so I'm actually going to be able to get a full power Shadow Ball off here, which is incredibly nice. I think I'll be able to pick up the knockout onto Malamar, but we'll see. How bulky is it exactly? Yep, picks up the 1-hit KO. So, instant lead here, which is great. Togekiss should be the fastest Pokemon against my opponent's team. Also kind of sets up the Volcarona, which I have saved up in the back as well. So things are looking pretty solid right now. My opponent here is going to bring in Crawdaunt, which I'm more than okay with. I think I'm actually just going to go for the Follow Me here, and the Shadow Ball onto the Meowstic slot. I just want to deny him of his, setup users. And that way I know he only has attackers in the back because his team kind of revolves around using these disruption users like Meowstic, like Malamar, which can set up Trick Room like I mentioned, and go from there. So I'm just going to want to deny him from any setup because then I have the speed advantage with my Pokemon in the back. So I can use that to my advantage, and then he'll be stuck just trying to get an attack off. But when you have the faster Pokemon in the field, it's a bit easier to get attacks off. So I'm going to go for the Follow Me. His Meowstic's actually going to go for the Swagger, unfortunately not hitting the Togekiss. He is also going to go for the Crab Hammer here onto Togekiss, but not knocking it out, reveals the Life Orb, which makes sense. If you see Crawdaunt in VGC, typically it's probably going to have Life Orb, so that's going to be really good for me because the Shadow Ball is going to be able to come out here and should be able to just pick up the knockout onto Meowstic. Aegislash still being slower than both of my opponent's Pokemon, but, that makes sense. So very, very aggressive game right from the start as we pick up a knockout, 2 knockouts in 2 turns, but you know, weakness policy, Aegislash here is really pulling its weight. So my opponent's going to bring in the Mawile, which, you know, is perfectly okay with me. So Volcarona I definitely feel pretty comfortable with in the back since obviously it just beats the Mawile. But let's see what I want to do here. And obviously Rotom is great to Thunderbolt the Crawdaunt. So definitely got to feel pretty good about my position, but, you know, it's never over until it's actually over. So this next turn, let's see, I'm going to just Protecting King's Shield. I want to scout out what he does. You know, potentially bait out any protects from your opponent's end. And I'm so far ahead right now, I just want to make the safer play. So Mawile's going to Mega Evolve. There's really no reason not to Mega Evolve Mawile when you can't have the ability to switch. Normally players like to conserve their Mawile so they can bring in Intimidates for the future, but they can also choose to Mega Evolve so they get the increased special defense. Regardless, I'm just going to play it safe here, and we'll go from there. But, you know, with the Rotom and a Volcarona in the back, both which can, you know, just Thunderbolt and Heat Wave, I feel pretty decent about this game. But you still want to see what he has here. Mawile actually goes for the Protect, which was what I was explaining here. You know, just scout out for potential Protects on your opponent's end, as Crawdaunt goes for a Crab Hammer, but that's not going to go into Togekiss. Let's see. You might actually just be able to pick up 2 knockouts here, though. And I think I'm going to just allow him to do that. I'm going to go for the Air Slash onto Crawdaunt and the Shadow Ball onto Mawile. Because he's might try to Iron Head here. He actually goes for the double Protect, which I wasn't anticipating. But, you know, that's alright with me here. So I get an Air Slash off. Of course, I get the chance of flinching, and it does all that damage, and I get the flinch, unfortunately, for my opponent. So, you know, that's the nice thing about Togekiss getting the flinch chance. I really wouldn't mind losing Togekiss there because it means a free switch in, but all that damage really helps out. So this next turn, I am just going to Air Slash the Crawdaunt and Shadow Ball the Mawile. Because we saw how much the Air Slash did, and he's going to make the smart play and Protect with Crawdaunt, which I think is the correct play. But Mawile, I know, can only target 1 of 2 Pokemon here. Looks like he's not going to go for the Sucker Punch, and I'm actually faster here, so I'm going to be able to get the Shadow Ball off. Let's see if it's enough to KO after that Weakness Policy. It is. So wow, Togekiss and Weakness Policy Aegislash really pulling through here, and it was all because of that turn 1 from my opponent's end, as he went for the knockoff onto Aegislash. And, you know, Aegislash being slower, it really helped me out here. So, even though Crawdaunt and Malamar, you know, really cool team, unfortunately my opponent just wasn't able to do much because Aegislash was such a good member against this entire team. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't bring Heatran, but when you look at my team, you know, I've got Kangaskhan, I've got Rotom Wash, I've got Landorus, all which threaten Heatran a significant amount. So it makes sense as to why my opponent didn't bring Heatran. Regardless, I'm not going to complain. That was a pretty clean win as it is. Obviously, I got a bit lucky with the flinch there onto Crawdaunt in the end, but I think with Volcarona and Rotom Wash, unless, you know, something crazy happened, it would have been a pretty clean win. So we're going to look for our next game, as that does put us at 17-21. So, you know, I did come back just last week, so it's pretty nice, or earlier this week, so it's pretty nice for this team to have put us all the way over the 1700s already in 1 week of playing, basically. So I'm pretty pleased about that, and hopefully we can soon push into the 1800s and then the 1900s eventually. But, you know, it does get a bit harder from here on, but, you know, that makes it all the more exciting. And, you know, US Nationals is basically the biggest event I have on my plate right now, since I'd like to do well there, and I'm trying to spend more time preparing for it, but I'm going to make sure you guys also get content up, so don't worry about that. And hopefully, you know, I'll do well at Nationals, but if you want live updates on that, definitely follow me on Twitter, since I'll probably be tweeting throughout the day. So at Cybertron VGC, which is on the overlay and in the description below. Should be a really exciting tournament. For those that don't know, I'm currently ranked 6th in North America in championship points, which means I have my invitation to Worlds. But Worlds is a 3-day event, and the first day you can actually manage to get out of and advance to the second day automatically if you're high enough ranked in whatever respective region you are. So, you know, right now I'm 6th in North America, and the top 8 players in North America get a free buy until the second day. So if I do well enough at Nationals, you know, keep up my position, then I will be able to skip out of day 1 and, you know, just get a free buy into the second day. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to find Justin from South Carolina with a rating of 1760 for our last opponent with this team, and he's also got some interesting Pokemon on this team. We see the Swampert, Volcarona, Meowstic, Kangaskhan, Zapdos, and the Azumarill. So immediately, I actually think Volcarona will be very good in this game, but it's going to want to avoid potential Rock Slide from the Aegislash and Aqua Jets, you know, of course, from the Azumarill. But let's see what I want to lead with. Both of us rocking Kang Volcarona as well, which I find kind of funny. The Swampert on his team is actually very threatening. I'm kind of intimidated by that, just because it has good coverage. If it's a special Swampert, you know, he can Ice Beam my Landorus. He can also just Scald the Volcarona and whatnot. So I want to see what I want to lead with here. Rotom's not a bad lead just because of the amount of offensive pressure it offers, but I'm actually leaning towards something like Landorus Rotom. But Part of me also wants to just set up with Volcarona immediately if possible. So something like Kangaskhan Volcarona also makes some sense to me here. And so I can get a Quiver Dance immediately. And then I kind of want Landorus in the back just for the Intimidate. That makes sense, yeah. And for the last one, I think I want Aegislash. But Rotom definitely makes some sense here as well. The reason why I want Aegislash is mainly for Wide Guard. But I think in perspective, Rotom might actually be the call here. It gets a bit more offensive pressure on against my opponent's entire team. So we're going to lock in and we're going to see how this goes as we do go into sometimes I just can't speak. But this final game with the team. Of course, once again, huge shoutouts to Danny Hemchand for allowing me to use his team. You know, he offered because he wanted to see it featured, and it's really been a lot of fun. But we are going to switch things up soon. And if you want to follow Danny, I'll link his Twitter in the description below for those interested. Looks like we're going to see Mienshao and Volcarona as my opponent's lead here, which is actually incredibly threatening because he has so many options right from the start, especially with that Mienshao. You know, Mienshao with its ability Inner Focus means that even if I choose to fake out it, he can avoid getting knocked or avoid flinching. So that's kind of the most problematic issue for me right now. And he also has a chance of going for Rock Slide immediately, so he has a bunch of options, and I'm not particularly fond of any of them. I think one potential play I'm actually leaning towards making is switching Volcarona out and going straight for the Double Edge onto Mienshao, because he's probably going to Rock Slide Volcarona or Low Kick the Kangaskhan. So with the Intimidate, I don't think he'll be able to knock me out. So I'm going to try to knock out Mienshao before anything else, because that takes away basically the biggest threat to my Volcarona. But a very good lead option for my opponent here. And the nice thing is, by getting Landorus in, I also get the Intimidate off against him and put on pressure with Rock Slide the following turn against Volcarona. So we'll see how this first turn plays out. But very smart lead choice, I think, on my opponent's end, and it makes me kind of regret not leading straight with the Landorus immediately, because then I could have gotten the Intimidate, and I could have used, you know, like Fake Out on Volcarona. But he is actually just going to go launch a Fake Out here onto the Kangaskhan. Good play on his end. What does Volcarona go for? He's going to set up a Quiver Dance, which makes sense. So that was also a very safe play on his end. You know, I could have potentially set up a Quiver Dance, but really didn't want to risk it. Now here, presumably, he is going to just Heat Wave and Wide Guard. That's the prediction I'm making. Because he knows I'm probably Scarfed, and this is not a good position to be in. So what I could do here is U-turn Mienshao and Double Edge Volcarona. Or I could just Double Edge Mienshao to try to knock it out immediately. Something like Rock Slide Double Edge. But I don't want Landorus to take the Heat Wave. That's the main, you know, concern right now. So in anticipation, yeah, I'm going to U-turn Mienshao. And I'm going to just Double Edge it as well. Yeah, you know, might as well just get free damage. He protects with Volcarona, which is perfect. But I assume he's going to go for a fighting type attack onto Kangaskhan, which is also kind of problematic. But we'll see. So I get the U-turn out. I'm not sure. I mean, unless he has like high jump kick, which is a move sometimes Mienshao's like to carry. Otherwise, I'll be able to knock it out. But hopefully he's not carrying high jump kick. Who do I want to bring in here? I'm just thinking of the future. In the chance that I do knock out Mienshao, who would he switch into? I think he has Kangaskhan in the back. So neither Volcarona or Rotom Wash are too great against either, but I think Rotom at least puts on a bit more offensive pressure. Not a great position for me, though. The Mienshao Volcarona lead was just really bad. And he does have high jump kick, wow. But he doesn't knock me out, so I'm going to be able to knock him out here. Incredibly risky move in VGC, because of course if he missed there, that just would have been terrible. But we trade knockouts here, which I'm more than okay with, because now he doesn't have Wide Guard support, which is great. But scary, scary turn there. And I'm still not in the best of positions because his Volcarona is sitting at +1, and he does have the Kangaskhan, which I presume he's going to bring in here. So I'll bring in Landorus, but things still aren't looking too great. Actually, in retrospect, maybe it would have been a bit better to bring Volcarona, but I really wanted Landorus for the Intimidate support. The issue here is now he's going to be able to bring in Kangaskhan and just go for a Fake Out and like a Heat Wave, which is not good. So let's see. Yeah. This is kind of a problematic position. I wonder if he has Giga Drain. That's my other question. Because what I could do here is just go for the Hydro Pump onto Volcarona and switch Landorus out into my own Volc. Because I don't want to take the Heat Wave with my Landorus. So that's the plan I'm going to go for. But of course he could just Fake Out Rotom and Heat Wave if he's predicting me to switch out here, which would be a fantastic play on his end. So I actually really think I messed up this game in the leads. I should have anticipated Volcarona as one of the main members of my opponent's team, and I should have tried to counteract that a bit better. For example, leading with like Togekiss Landorus would have been really, really solid, but unfortunately, you know, I didn't do that. So Kangaskhan's gonna Mega Evolve here. We'll see who he decides to target with the Fake Out, if he even fakes out. Maybe he just Double Edges, but you would think he'd Fake Out the Landorus slot. Yeah, so Fake Out does come out, targeting... Yep, Volcarona, great. So let's see if I can get a burn here. I do get the burn, which is really nice. Which is one of the benefits of Flame Body. You know, hitting a Pokemon twice actually has a relatively decent percentage. And he's just going to launch a Heat Wave here, as I was anticipating. So that's good, but Rotom's still going to take a beating here. Volcarona actually manages to hang on, and I fortunately connect with Hydro Pump. Though, in retrospect, now that I think about it, it might have been a smarter idea to target Kangaskhan, because you see here, as Volcarona hangs on with just a sliver of HP. If I targeted Kangaskhan, he would have been in... KO range from potentially like a Rock Slide target, so that doesn't work out too well in my favor. Now I wonder if he's going to try to set up a second Quiver Dance with Volcarona, because he definitely has that ability to. I was actually hoping Volcarona would get knocked out so I get a free switch him back into my Landorus, but now I'm actually in a pretty bad position. Let's see. Because if I'm him, I would predict the Protect with Rotom, Double Edge into Volcarona, and Quiver Dance. But I don't know if my opponent sees that play. He might just Heat Wave. Or Giga Drain for that matter. Tricky. This is really hard, especially when like you can't really assess your opponent's skill level at this point. You know what? I don't think he's going to go for the Quiver Dance play. So I'm just going to protect Heat Wave here. Actually, now I think he is going to go for it. Oh, he protects Volcarona. Okay, good. But Kangaskhan probably targeted Volcarona. But if he targets Rotom, then I get a free Heat Wave off, which is great. Oh, wow. He's not even as fast, so I do just get a free Heat Wave off regardless. Okay, that's a lot of free damage, and he goes for the Pup onto Rotom. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so this game's definitely not over yet, but I'm still concerned just based off what I know he has in the back. It's not looking too great for me here. I think I'm actually going to Thunderbolt Kangaskhan. I mean, he's definitely Heat Waving here. Do I want to switch into Landorus? That's the one question. Because he didn't return Rotom, which is also kind of a questionable play. I think Return is just better at this point, or Double Edge, regardless. Well, I mean, depending on what item you have, obviously. I mean, I could, you know, I could protect with Volcarona this turn. Yeah, I should definitely do that. So I'm going to Thunderbolt Kang and just protect with Volt. Does that make sense? Yeah. Maybe I should have Thunderbolted the Volcarona slot instead, but we'll see. Because any free damage against Kang would be great. He goes for a Sucker Punch, which fails. Volcarona goes for the Bug Buzz, though, onto Rotom. So he does have Bug Buzz. Doesn't have Giga Drain. That's going to knock me out. A very bulky Rotom might be able to take that, but obviously this Rotom, being as feral as it is, not going to be able to. Okay, so now this puts us actually in a very interesting position, because I am able to bring in Landorus. I'm not sure how speedy his Volcarona is. I think I can still outspeed him here, which is good. And presumably he's going to go for another Sucker Punch, so what I can do here is Rock Slide and Quiver Dance. And then that can actually just win me the game based off who he has in the back. So this is basically the deciding turn. You know, who's faster? What does he go for with Kangaskhan? Does he flinch if he doesn't, you know, go for the Sucker Punch? And he does go for Sucker Punch and it fails. Oh, but he's faster. Oh, Volcarona avoids it! Oh my goodness. Does this KO Landorus? Does it burn me? It doesn't burn me. Rock Slide connects. Wow. Well, we'll see what my opponent's last Pokemon is. If it's Zapdos, then, you know, Landorus just needed one flinch to win that. But I get very lucky here, and that might actually just be game. Actually, no, if his last Pokemon is Azumarill, he can still win this one. So... I definitely did not play this game very great, though, just from the beginning. I did, like, the lead matchup really messed me up, and then taking that much damage from a high jump kick from Yancha was also not great. You know, kind of messed with my strategy. So we'll see who his last Pokemon is. It's going to be Swampert. I am so happy to see that, because I brought Volcarona specifically for that Giga Drain. So now I can just Rock Slide Giga Drain, and that's going to be game. But this was not a game I really should have won, because, you know, obviously he missed the Heat Wave on Volcarona, which was very unfortunate. But that's how Pokemon is sometimes. And, you know, RNG always rolls on both favors. This side, it just happened to be on our end. You know, we've had a bunch of unfortunate games too. But I definitely want to give this game to my opponent, because I think he outplayed me and he made the better plays throughout. Especially with that lead matchup right from the start. But the clutch Giga Drain here coming out, just adding more insult to injury with that critical hit on Swampert. And we're going to be able to take a 2-0 win here. But huge credits to my opponent here, because I did think Justin played the better game. So I do have to apologize for that miss. You know, I thought I might have been a bit faster faster, but I didn't know how fast his Volcarona was especially. Didn't know what nature he was, etc. But a very good game there, and we do get bailed by the RNG, which is always a bit fortunate. So that's going to put us probably in the 1740s, 50s range, which is actually really great because now we're, you know, inching towards 1800, so that's definitely a reasonable goal for us to get to next week. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like always if you did, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new team. Alright, peace.